I'm here to yap, and it's very intelligent yap. So I think you should listen. Get your notepad, get your pen, notepad, and pen. Yes, that's what you need. All right, what I say, cause important. Okay.
Hi people, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Zinelli Isanketigi, and on this space I talk about things relating to development, faith, purpose in a nutshell. And so if you like things like that, please by all means grab your chair and subscribe and let's sit. When you want to share your thoughts, you can comment them down below and so I can read them and we can, talk about them. So yes, today I'm talking about some things that I learned while being in volunteer and leadership roles. I think it's a very important conversation to have, and so we're having it. So let's get right into the video. The first thing I have on my list here, and yes, I have a list. It's not conclusive, definitely. If you have anything to add, you know what to do. Comment it down below. Is self confidence. Random example, right? I like to make Google Forms. And so when my friends, let's say they're doing an event, they have something that they need to create a registration list for, they know who to call. Me, because I like to make Google Forms. The first time I made Google Forms, however, I don't think I might have done it to definitely would not have done it to the taste that I like to do it now. Why? Because I've grown in my ability to create Google Forms, and so I'm confident in my ability to create Google Forms. It sounds serious, but literally it's just Google Forms. But that can be anything. Once you put in a position to MC an event, handle logistics for something, or it can be any example. You just get to a point where you're confident in your ability to do something. And so tying this point back home to our central topic, being in leadership roles, being in volunteer roles, once you've been put in these positions here and there once or twice, few times, you just know what to do. You know how to approach this type of situation because you've been in these types of situations before. And so I think it's a very important thing to learn and would have probably learned by now, having been in volunteer roles and leadership roles. So now, point two, people skills. You're going to meet different people from different walks of life. It's a no-brainer. From primary school to secondary school to university to NYSC to law school if you're a law student, you're going to meet different types of people. And so being able to navigate how to relate with these different types of people is important. And what exposes you to these types of situations is volunteer roles, leadership roles, where you get to see different kinds of people, how they work, how they relate, and things like that. And not just people horizontally, but people vertically who are above you, supervisors, administrators, people who are to oversee the work that you're doing. And so when you're in these positions, you get to see how things are done, how to relate with people who are above you, with respect, with dignity, and all of that, and even people on the same level as you are, not trying to demean someone for doing something a certain way if you know how to do it, but trying to teach them and trying to relate with them. Tolerance actually is another thing that you learn in this umbrella. So yes, that brings us to point three, which is career clarity, scholarship opportunities, and even employment roles. I know these are three broad areas in one sentence, and so we can take them one by one. Career clarity, for example, if you've been volunteering in, let's say, your faculty, whatever you might have studied. I'll take law, for example. In my school, we had a law clinic and we had different expressions of that law clinic. And so I got to see each and every expression of the law clinic and I saw what they did there. And these are different aspects of the law, and so this gave me a training ground, if you will, to see what's done here and to see how I can contribute, and not just what I can contribute, but to see what career path I would like to take in the future. And so these grounds give you the space to explore, to see what's going on, what's in this space, the laws that are here, regulations, and things like that. And so it's very important, right? Now to the next point under the same point is scholarship opportunities. I know that there are so many scholarship routes or avenues that even reward people for doing certain types of works. For example, Chevening, I believe that they look out more for social impact pioneers and people who are in this space. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've seen, they reward people in this space. So whether you've contributed, whether you've pioneered, whether you started something in that regard, that's how they are able to know that you are in this space and you're worth giving a scholarship to, right? Does that make sense? I hope so. The next one is employment roles. Say you've a volunteer for a particular organization and you've worked with different people. In that way, you've kind of formed a network, and even in the future, when someone's looking for an MC, they know that, oh, this person, Fola Shade, has done this before and she was so good, she did it excellently well, and so I think that she can do this. And so that's just like a one-off gig. It can even relate into full-time roles, full-time jobs, and so these things are super important if you pay attention to them. Now, point 4, giving back to your community. I remember a time in school, right, we were running a particular project where we'll go into secondary schools and we'll teach them on their rights as children. And so being in that role, having to take up the Child Rights Act, read it, even though we had a teaching curriculum derived from the Child Rights Act, taking it, reading it, and then, explaining it to these children, having them get to understand the rights that they are given by the Constitution, for me was so fulfilling to know that every Friday I would go with a couple of my colleagues and we'll go to a particular school and we'll teach them about their child rights. The children will ask questions, they would engage, and they will put you on your feet, basically. They'll put you on your feet and you have to think on the spot to give them a solid answer, or try to give them a solid answer. And so that was so fulfilling. There's another time we had gone to an IDP camp, and the same thing, we were teaching them about different subjects: PHE, social studies, English, mathematics. I was not taking mathematics, but anyways, yes, we were doing different things and engaging with the students or pupils at the time, and it was very fulfilling to know that my contribution to this project means that a child gets to learn this type of thing on their education journey, and that for me was super fulfilling. And so the concept of giving back to your community is so important. To know that it's not just give me and take in, but you're also giving back to people who matter, right? And yeah, 5th point, you get to start, practice, and fail. Yes, I said fail, because sometimes, maybe inevitably, everyone will fail at something at different points in life, but it doesn't mean you get to stay down. You get to learn and you get to pick up. And so being in volunteer roles, being in leadership positions, it gives you the chance, it gives you the space, now that you're learning, to fail, to learn, and to do better. There was a time, again, stories for days, I was in school and I was just learning how to use Gmail, the concept of sending electronic mail. Yeah. And I sent an email to my lecturer, and the next day, I believe, or maybe 2 days later in class, he looked at me in the face and said, "Zinelli, I read your mail, but I cannot respond to it. In fact, I will not respond to it because it was not properly written." And at the time, I was like, "Oh my goodness, sir, you could have just, it's my first time, I'm new to this." But that taught me something, that there's a standard for excellence, and it's not so and I believe, honestly, at that time he knew that I could do better, and so he was even spurring me on to better works essentially. And so when we started learning email writing, even in class, I am so glad and confident to present to you that I believe, if my memory serves me right, that I was the best. I think I provided the best email sample in class that day. And even if I'm wrong, I am right. Anyways, jokes aside, it's a simple example such as email writing. You learn these types of etiquettes when you're in this position, so that years down the line, when you're in your proper big girl job, big boy job, you don't be disgracing yourself. What if they don't want to tell you in a nice way, or in a way that you can quickly change and all of that? In these positions, I'm not saying though that these are the positions where you take it for granted and you just do anyhow. No, I'm saying that in times when you do not know something genuinely and you go ahead to do something, there are people around you who can let you know that, oh, this is the proper way to do it, and you can quickly change, quickly learn, and put it into practice. And so yeah, these are spaces that afford you these opportunities. So I think it's a good thing, And yeah, it's still piggybacking off of the 5th point. The 6th point is communication. You cannot be using email the way that you're using WhatsApp. You cannot be, abbreviating your words on email the way that you would usually do on WhatsApp. And so even this is just written communication now. We're also talking about oral communication, being able to speak responsibly to someone who is above you, someone who is even on your level, because everyone deserves respect, right? And so it opens the door for you to see different people from different walks of life and be able to communicate confidently um to them about what it is that you're doing, the work that you're doing, and things of that nature. And so, yes, communication is another thing that I learned in this role, to know that you can't just be moving anyhow. Seventh point, we're wrapping up soon. Seventh point is, apart from the doing the work, it also builds you up intellectually. For example, again, I have stories for this from school, because that school was a proper training ground for what I was going to see in the future. Anyways, there's a time in school when there was a, I think, was it International Day of Environment? I'm trying to remember. A day that I celebrated like around the world. And so at that point, I didn't really know like particular things about this day. And so trust Google. I went to Google this. Okay, what is this day about? Who are the people in this space? Yada yada yada. And I found so many activists in this space, activists who had even written books. And I quickly went, looked for their book, found it, and I started reading it. I may have not finished it, but at least I tried. And I'm just trying to paint a picture here that these roles expose you to more. It's an invitation to more, quite frankly. It's an invitation to more. And so it builds you up not only in your skill set, it builds you up also intellectually, for you to know things that you might not have even bothered knowing if you were not in this space. Like, what's my business with this particular concept? Now it's your business, because you're actively volunteering in this role, you're actively leading people in this particular project. And so, yes, eighth point is accountability. This is very important, because I don't say people need to answer for what they've done. But anyways, accountability in the sense that there's a project, we've broken it down into certain parts. Great. You're handling a certain part, and you need to report to this person what's going on, where you're at, where you're going to, where you're coming from, how long it's taking you. It teaches you the value of being accountable, of you carrying this work as though it's very important, because it is very important. It's something that you should put your energy into. And so it tells you that when something is given to you, you have a responsibility to see it from point A to point Z, and not just to abandon it halfway because you're not directly or personally affected by it. And so being in these roles, it exposes you to projects and things that you ordinarily would not have been in, to even be accountable to any person in. But yeah, when you're in these roles, you find that, oh, they're giving you this task, and it even gives people the courage to want to give you more. You know, they say the reward for good work is more work, which is true. Unfortunately true. Anyways, so yes, it gives you the opportunity to be given more work, to say, oh, I know this person can do this, and so I am able to give them, and I know that they will be accountable and they will report on this honestly and have an integrity, and stuff like that. And so yes, these are just a couple of things that I learned while being in volunteer and leadership roles, and I think they're super important to know and move forward with. They're things that have literally shaped me, have carried me. I know I'm very much young, but will still carry me in career and in different projects that I'll involve myself in the future. And so yes, if you have any more, at first, in the beginning I mentioned that this list is no way conclusive, and so if you have anything to add, be my guest. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Let's have a chat about this in the comment section. And yes, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye. Is got this video. Kolanda. I just feel like if I put on the mic, it may stop and I will not know when I'll be talking. And I'm nah, I can't do it.
And yeah, today I want to talk about an important topic to myself. Testing for the last time before we actually start the video. Once we're looking like this, it's calling.
Comment your thoughts. I'd love to read them.